Hello, this is Norm Clarke from 360 Vegas Studios. Today we're with Kevin Dunlap, a local realtor. Let's start with where you grew up.
I grew up in a small town just outside of Pensacola, Florida, a small town called Pace, Florida. It was so small we actually only had one red light and a Piggly Wiggly. That's how small we were.
We have something in common, except that without the Piggly Wiggly. You moved to Las Vegas when?
I moved here in January 2004 from another kind of a small town called Wilmington, North Carolina.
What brought you here?
Well, at the time I was living in Wilmington, I was a college math teacher. I was also tending bar at a local beach bar and also doing some stunt work for some independent films. And I had just started working in being a real estate investor. I was about 2 years being a real estate investor. And then had a coach that told me about all the great things that are happening out west, out in California, Arizona, and particularly Las Vegas, the booming real estate market of 2003. And so in January 2004, I packed up my truck and moved to Las Vegas.
Well, before we get into your message, I've got to stop you at Stuntman.
Yes.
Talk about who you worked with and what your favorite memory of that movie was.
Well, I worked on a few different films. The biggest budget film I ever worked on was a movie called Black Knight, which was a Martin Lawrence film.
Oh, yes.
And I worked on quite a few different independent films. I worked out of a company with a stunt troupe that we called ourselves Studio F. And the reason we were called that was because the studio that we trained at was unit number F. And that became our name. But my fondest memories was just growing into in the film and stage industry, doing the stunt work. My favorite production that I ever worked on, I was a fight choreographer for a play called Hamlet. And the person playing Hamlet had never fought with a sword before, and the guy that played Laertes had in another play called King Lear. It was choreographing that fight, putting that all together, and making it look beautiful, where we had audiences on two sides of us, as well as the guy that was playing Hamlet was left-handed. So it was choreographing that fight where the fights were coming in, and with the left-handed fighter or left-handed attacker as well, they were constantly opening up to the audience. So it made it for a beautiful choreography, and that's something I will treasure for the rest of my life.
Talk about what you want to impart to the audience today.
Since I've got involved with real estate, and then when I moved to Vegas in 2004, I started working with an area of real estate known as lease options and seller financing. So I became known as the lease option guy here in Vegas. And what that does is it helps people that may not be able to qualify for a home actually get into a home that they will be buying 1, 2, or 3 years from now. And that's actually been pretty successful with a number of my clients. Because of that, what I found is when you can find a problem in the real estate market where people are wanting to buy but they're not able to for whatever reason, it's coming up with a creative solution to do that. Most recently, I've got clients that are now working as W-2 employees in the cannabis industry, or people that are like exotic dancers that are predominantly tipped types of people that are not employees. They're having a hard time to getting financing. Now I've got solutions for them outside of the lease option, how they can get into a home. So it's always about finding what the issue is and creating a solution around that.
What was your biggest takeaway from stunt work?
Well, one of my biggest things is taking action. I mean, it doesn't matter how nervous you are, it doesn't matter how prepared that you are, it's actually taking action. An example would be, let's say you're about to do a sequence that makes you real nervous. You're going to jump out of a 3-story window, go through a plate glass and land into an airbag. You're really nervous about doing that. And then you hear the director say, quiet on the set, roll camera, roll sound, action, and now that's your cue to go. And if you're the paid professional, you can't be the person that says, well, let me think about it. I know I'm a little nervous. No, you've got to take that action. You've got to go. And that to me applies to anywhere in life. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. When the time comes to take action, you must take that action.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin. This is Norm Clarke from 360 Vegas Studios. We'll see you next time.